welcome to episode 3 of building the habitat for the Capucin and Capibara. So in this episode we are continuing this habitat where we started last time, and last time we built the insides, and today we're gonna focus on the outside areas. So as you can see, I first start with making sure that the path towards the Capucin inside viewing looks a little bit good. Like I said last time, because we had to use bridges, we have a little bit of a problem with the curbs, so we have to level it out and hide it later on. Let's start also by building the sign for this habitat. I like to use the information signs inside the game because it also helps for that people stop and watch info signs. So with the interactions, which I really like, and also because I'm just a little bit lazy, so I don't like to make my own billboards at the moment. I just don't have the time for that. So making these signs and just integrating these information signs, in-game information signs, is already really nice. So I'm making it just general of the wooden planks and the wooden beams and putting some extra signage on the side. And because this is a walk-through exhibit or walk-in exhibit, it's just how you want to call it, I wanted to make some extra information on this sign, reminding people to follow a couple of rules. Because of course, if you would have a walk-in exhibit like that in any zoo, you would see some small signs as well, saying what you can and cannot do. Like for instance, feeding animals is like really not the meaning if you walk inside an exhibit like that. So I wanted to do something similar like this, but the lines would be like really small. So I just use these pieces. It's a handle piece, I think, and we can recolor it, and we just put it a little bit on the side, and then you have these little lines. And also I found on the workshop this really nice sign showing that you're not allowed to use flash photography or using photography, and I thought, not using or flashing with photographer would be really interesting for this habitat as well, especially because maybe if you are waving around with your camera, maybe the capuchin will sneak away your camera or steal it. I don't know. I think they're not as how you say it in English, they're not like that they steal stuff, but maybe they can. So now you have this nice walk-in sign, and of course, because we need to make money, I also need a donation box as well. So I'm hiding it away with these beams as well, making it like a round box. Of course, this one didn't look really nice. You can see later in the video that I just made it a little bit more neater than right now. And here you can also see that I already did some work on the keeper hut and making this look a little bit more nicer. And unfortunately I didn't get any video of how I was working on that part of the keeper hut, but it's actually quite easy. It's quite a basic, it's just a standard roof, and here we make a cut to the waterfall. I forgot to tape this part of building the waterfall. I started building and then I was like, oops, I had to put the camera on. So, but to be honest, building a waterfall is quite straightforward. It's just piling up a bunch of rocks and using the water features and just the top, middle and bottom part of a waterfall to make the splash, and then you have this feature. And so I think it's, for most people, you can just experiment with that and you can get something similar like that. And now it's also a fun part is putting the trees and stuff inside the habitat. playing around with the trees that is needed for this kind of animal and what's possible, and just making sure there's plenty of trees but still enough space to see the animals, and at the same time some places where the animals can hide. It's really quite fun, and because this was quite a big habitat, I could also use the really big trees here, and I rarely can use those really big jungle trees, and I thought, wow, this is an excellent moment to use them, and just to show how to give that real jungle feel. As you can see, also it's getting night because I needed to make money to spend on all those trees. I kept time playing just to make sure I had enough income. And also what you don't see at the same time is I placed a couple of vivariums at the entrance as well, just to make the zoo more interesting and to generate a little bit more money. Vivariums are quite easy to make a little bit of money in Planet Zoo. First of all, they're quite cheap. They're cheap in maintenance. They're cheap, easy for the zookeepers. And also what is very interesting is because you put animals in there and they breed quite quickly. And you can sell those animals again, and that will give you a lot more money as well. So there's a lot of ways of making a little bit more money in your zoo if you have some money issues, especially in the beginning of the game. And because I was planning for the next step, and I'm already giving this away for next episode, we are going to build a reptile house. So putting those vivariums there, I already knew that they would be migrating to my reptile house later. So I just put them now at the beginning and made sure that I choose some animals like we are doing in this series all the time, that there were only animals from South and North America. So now you can see I started on building the bridge. I checked out some pieces that were standard pieces for building bridges, and I just wasn't satisfied with them. They didn't look good. They didn't fit really in this habitat. So I opted for the same stonework that is used for the inside areas for the animals, and just made a railing for this bridge, and just then copy pasting it all the way along the path, so it would work out in the end. And after that, it's just copying the bridge parts over to the other side and then adjusting them so they would fit. And of course, you have this inner corner of the bridge, and that's always a little bit of a difficult part, where you can't just have to fiddle in that part. So I had to adjust a little bit and couldn't use it like completely the same like I used on the other side, and just had to make it a little bit more smaller so it could fit in that inner corner and round it off wisely. And then when I was happy with the bridge, I just used some standard stone pillars just to make the supports. Nothing fancy, but well, it's inside habitat. It doesn't a walk-in habitat, so it doesn't need to look very fancy. And the bridge it's like a standard stone bridge, so it didn't need any fancy pillars as well. So this was just fine for my liking. And then I was thinking, okay, so on this part where the people walk on the ground, I don't want people to go wandering inside the habitat. Of course, the game dynamics won't show people wandering the habitat. So for realistic purposes, you want to show it like they can't. And so I made these little pillars with the ropes and just lined them up all along the side of the path. Except this one little part, I kept it free because I thought that it would affect the movement of the animals inside the habitat and I wouldn't go through the rope area, so I needed to keep a little part free. But in the end, actually, it turned out I didn't need to have that part free. The animals actually walk through the ropes areas, so it wasn't a problem at all. But, well, at least it looks good. So now I'm copying over the invitation side to the other entrance, of course, because the information needs to be on that side as well, if people would walk in on that side. And like I said before, I was making the round part for the donation box, and I thought, oh, it doesn't look really nice. I need to make it a little bit better, so I'm adjusting it a little bit here, so it looks a little bit more neater. Of course, you have lots of tricks to make this perfectly round part for this. Make something perfectly round, and you have some tricks for it. But of course, this was just a small item, and I was like, I didn't want to start all over again and use those tricks to make it perfect. And I was like, it's almost round. I'm happy. It looks good. That's all I want. So I was happy with it. And then I could use it, actually, thought I could use it for the bins as well. So for the garbage bins. So I just copied it over and used it for the garbage bins everywhere. So now I'm doing some of the final checks, and I was seeing that I was missing the railing on the top side there of the building. So I'm finishing up that top side, except of course for the part where the beam for the capuchins is going up, so they can still climb there. And then I was thinking I need a little bit more of climbing material here for the capuchins. So I was using some of these vines to give a little bit more jungle feel, and at the same time giving them some more climbing opportunities. But in the end, I think I never see the capuchins use this actually. I don't know. I think those vines are a little bit better for maybe smaller monkeys or maybe for macaques or something. I don't know. While I'm playing, I haven't spotted any of the capuchins going inside the trees or using those vines. But at least it looks good, so that's fine. It gives a nice atmosphere and makes it look nice. And also, when the group was getting a bit bigger, later on I placed a little bit more of the climbing material inside the habitat as well. That was the final checks, and everything was working. Then I thought I needed to have a little bit more of the background filled with trees, and so I made a bunch of groups of trees, and I just copied them over all around the edges. Like I said before, when I was making about the circumfence, I just used the standard circumfence for this habitat, and making that circumfence, just hiding it away a little bit with bushes, and then it's just fine. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm making all these little groups, and I'm using some little different groups with different kind of trees just to make it look a little bit more interesting, and just copying them over and putting them all the way around the edge of the habitat, which makes sure that you get a really nice feel like you're looking inside the jungle when you're looking into the habitat. So that kind of background tricks really helps to fill up something and give it a little bit of body to a habitat like that. And this is the finished habitat then. This is how it looks. And I'm quite pleased. The capybaras are grazing away and walking slowly and swimming. Let's do a little tour or a view of the habitat. So we walk up to the info sign first, and like you see, the dynamics work really well. People are looking at the sign, reading the stuff, and then we go inside and you see this bridge, and from the bridge you can see the waterfall and just watch the water on the other side. If there are any capybaras there, they're swimming there, but not right now. But they do go into water quite often and they go swimming there, so it's really lovely to see. And then from the bridge you have a really nice view inside the habitat. And this is a view from the top, so if you walk around to the giant otter habitat, you can go up, and then you go from this way, you go inside the upper habitat, and this is where the capuchins will be, and you will be seeing them quite often actually hanging around this area. And this is to the right. This is the backstage area with the keeper hut and the staff room. You walk up to the staff rooms from here, and then you go inside, and then you go inside the lower area, that's which is for the capybara. Well, thank you for watching episode 3. I hope you really enjoyed it. Like I said during this build, next episode will be a reptile house. I hope you will be watching next time as well. Thank you for watching this time, and see you around. Bye bye.